Well, my name is Zubir. I'm British, but live in Shingeti. I accepted Islam about 6-7 years ago, and in many different ways, Allah bring me to live in Mauritania and in Shingeti. I had visited Shingeti many times before, each winter to do some humanitarian work, especially with a disabled girl here in Shingeti. But prior to that, since the age of 16, I decided that I could not accept Christianity because of the Trinity, because of the resurrection, and I decided to find the truth, the true religion. So it took me a long time and many journeys and probably many mistakes along the way, but eventually, thanks be to Allah, then I found Islam, and I was directed to come here, and here I am in Shingeti, doing my best to live as a Muslim. In the meantime, I was working in the UK as a quality engineer for BMW, making the Mini Cooper car. I asked them to allow me to be released from my contract early, 6 years early, that I could take my retirement and continue my work here and to come and live here. That's basically it in a nutshell, how I managed to come and live in Shingeti. So effectively, what I've done is perform the duty of a Muslim as we are guided in the Quran to effect hijrah. I left behind the country of my birth. I left behind all of my career of working. I left behind all of my family to come to an Islamic republic, the first Islamic republic in the world, Mauritania, and to live in the spiritual capital of Mauritania. Having said all of that, there are many challenges in life, and some of them we don't always know or expect in advance. But Mauritania is not the same as the UK or any European country. It's a lot less developed. So I found myself in a situation that's a kind of a push and a pull. There are many things that are pulling me here to Shingeti and Mauritania. It's a Muslim country, as I say. It's also in Africa, which I love. But there are many things about the West and the UK in particular that was pushing me away, especially, shall we say, just the behavior and the lack of spirituality. But the other problem here in a less developed country is access to technology, access to many materials, access to good foodstuffs. For example, the diet of the people here is not so very nutritious, not as nutritious as it could be if you lived in the West. So that's quite difficult. One of the things I decided to do was to try and grow my own vegetables and fruit. But that is also a challenge because we have only sand and rocks. So I have to make soil, which sounds pretty crazy, but it is possible, and I'm having some success with that. I was very fortunate living in Oxford to have a hairdresser, coiffeur, who was an Algerian guy, Abdul Halim. And every time I went to have my haircut, he would offer me dawah to help with my education about Islam. And one of the first things that he did was to give me a book by Bilal Phillips called Tawheed. So Tawheed, for me, it fits very nicely with my previous education at university for philosophy and psychology. But it also fits very nicely with my rejection of the Trinity. So the Tawheed has become very much foundation for me of my deen. We are created only to praise Allah and to show gratitude. However, what I find in this country, mostly because the people have not had the benefit and advantage of the education that I have enjoyed, alhamdulillah, they don't really understand very much about health and nutrition. And because I didn't have much choice of good foods here, I decided to try to grow my own fruit and vegetables, as I said. I have also chickens and ducks and lehabish, many cats, but I can't eat the cats. So yes, I'm staying here for so long as I live, and that's what I believe. If Allah has a different plan for me, I'm sure that will become known to me. I'm sure it will become obvious to me, inshallah. But otherwise, I feel very much that I'm in the right place, doing the right things, mostly, and just live from day to day here. So another perspective on this from when I was in the UK and I was still working in a big car factory with 5,000 people, and everybody heard the story that I asked to leave and I asked to retire early. And eventually they're getting the news and the stories that the company was going to give me permission to leave. And they would come up to me every day and say, so you must be counting the days that you're going to retire and that you're going to emigrate. And I said, no, I don't count days. Allah give me today. I'm alive. I'm speaking to you. Alhamdulillah. And I know that this day exists. I don't know about tomorrow. I don't know about the next day. I don't know if ever I will arrive in another country. I don't know that. I only know from the guidance that there will be the last day. And I'm preparing for that. That's 2 days. Today and the last day. That's it. And one of the ironies about coming to Mauritania and Shingeti and retiring from work in the UK is that I met a guy whose mother-in-law was retiring to go home to her family in Laayoune, and he wanted to sell the house for his mother-in-law, and he said, why don't you take it? And that's the house that I'm living in. So it's almost like a gift. And I'm living on a crossroads in Quartier Borgal. One direction is the market where I can go to buy things. The other direction is the Masjid Sahaba. And in the other direction, at the crossroads, in one way is the hospital and the other way is the cemetery. So I'm on the crossroads of life and death here in Shingeti. Alhamdulillah.